Welcome to the Let's Talk BS podcast. I'm Bryan.
And I'm Sofia, and we're coming to you live from the
757, where we discuss real estate,
culture, and current events.
Hey, what's going on, Sofia? How you doing?
I'm good. How are you doing?
Doing well. It's end of the month.
End of the month. It's been 3 weeks.
Yeah, it's been a while since we last recorded. Last time we were at one of the properties, and today we're back at our home base, I would say, right?
Yes, we are. Yeah. Shout out to Ibis.
Ibis. You always mess that name up, man. Always. Just, all you gotta do is when you think about it, what I do a lot of times,
Why?
It starts with an I, right? Ibis.
Ibis.
But yeah. Shout out to Mike.
I was just here this week. Last weekend.
Okay.
Yeah.
Cool.
Me and my friends came out. We had dinner here.
Yeah, I was gonna say, did you have dinner or brunch? Yeah, dinner.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, cool. What'd you eat?
Well,
have you had that?
Yeah, I had the salmon bites and a Caesar salad.
Okay.
I didn't have like dinner like everybody else. I wasn't that hungry.
Okay.
So
okay.
Yeah, I tried to keep it small, and I think I had like 2 drinks, and that's it.
Cool.
And I had the sweet potato cheesecake.
Oh, you did? Yeah, that was real good.
We split it between 3 of us because I couldn't eat the whole thing by myself, but it was really good.
Yeah, no, I haven't had cheesecake in a minute, man. I think the last time I had cheesecake was the time that we had it here, or I had it here.
Yeah.
So yeah, I'm definitely Dang, you just kind of messed my mind up. I might give me some cheesecake.
You're like, Mike, let me get one of those cheesecakes.
Yeah, let me get a little cheesecake. Bing, bing. You know what I mean? Give me a cheesecake, dog. But yeah, that's what's up. Was it packed when you came here?
When I first got here, it wasn't. But by the time we looked up, like I think I was here for 20 minutes, and then it was a lot of people here.
Yeah. I came here, man. This was a couple months ago. I had a meeting here in this room. And it was on a Sunday. Okay. Because both of the people I was meeting with, all of our schedules was crazy. But Sunday was the one day that we could all meet up. And I typically don't do that, but that's what we had to do. Yeah. So we came here and they had like the brunch going on, and it was crazy. Like, I mean, it reminded me of like when Jordans used to come out. There was a line outside the door down the street. There's probably like 30 people in line.
That's
no
good.
lie. Yeah, and they were all waiting, and it was crazy because it was like women dressed like they was going to the club. I'm like, it was Sunday at like 2 o'clock. No, it wasn't 2 o'clock. It's probably like around like about 12:30, 1 o'clock.
Okay.
And I mean, it was packed girls dressed up with dresses on and stuff. I'm like, what is going on? And they were like,
it's just brunch.
I was talking to Mike and he was like, yeah, man, brunch. Because I haven't been like out in the scene when like, I know brunch has kind of been like now like a real like thing to go to.
That's around your age group. That's our age group. Brunch is our age group. You go out for brunch and then you home in bed and time.
It is, but I feel like the surge in like it being like a thing has happened over like the last like 10 years. You know what I mean? It's been like, as far as like music, dancing, like it'd be like a thing. I was still growing up where, it was still like going out for, at nighttime it kind of merges like the happy hour kind of being like the thing. And now, like you said, brunch is kind of more of like, the place to go or whatnot, man. But it was crazy. There was a lot of people here that day, and I was like, wow, it's crazy.
Yeah, I'm a day party type of girly. I don't want to be out at night. I want to be in my bed by 8, 9, 10.
I feel you. I'm with you. I'm with you on that.
I'm a day drinker. Yeah. Like if I'm drinking, it's during the day. I'm not drinking in the middle of the night. No.
Yeah, I'm with you. I'm with you on that. I'm for sure.
I'm too old.
Yeah, I'm with you on that as well. Yeah. So, but yeah, we back here at Ibis. Definitely here to record. We got a lot to talk about, a lot to catch up on.
Yeah.
What's been good with you for the last 3 weeks now? You said,
right?
What's been going on? We had Mother's Day that happened. Yep. What did you do for Mother's Day weekend?
I didn't do anything for I was the tournaments. I went to the tournaments.
Right. That's right. I remember you mentioned that.
Yep. We went to the tournaments for Mother's Day weekend. I've had a couple events.
How did the tournaments go?
They won 1 or 2 games.
Okay.
Then, yeah, same old with them,
Same old, yeah.
Yeah, but I'm glad that it's over. That was the final weekend for volleyball, so super excited for that. I'm on break. I don't have to run anywhere. Okay. But my daughter get her license on June 7th, so.
Nice. So she'll be driving.
She'll actually be driving.
Oh, so because that's a lot of times when you got to run is for her, right? Yeah.
Right. Okay. I run for her more than I run for myself.
Yeah, I feel you.
Yeah, so. I'm excited for that. She's about to be a junior. School's about to end. She's about to be a junior in high school.
It's crazy.
It is.
Yeah.
It's crazy. I feel old.
I
got a junior in high school. It's crazy. Let me see. What else? What did I do? I had my event at the oceanfront. I can't remember if that was before or after Mother.
Yeah,
no, that was before.
Yeah,
but since then, I've been recording content. I taught a Virginia housing course.
Okay.
Just been out in these streets, man, for real. Just out trying to build
get
business
it.
and
gotta grind, man. Gotta get it how you live, man. That's what I always tell everybody, man. You gotta Got to get it how you live, man. I'm not out in the streets as much as I was, but I mean, I remember faithfully, like, shoot, I was anywhere there was something to go, or I was trying to create something. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
so
that's what I've been doing is creating. So I have an event next week called Cabanas and Cocktails.
I saw that on social media.
Yeah.
What's so good? What's the story about that? What's going on there?
So basically, it's just a business networking event for people to come out, enjoy themselves by the poolside this time. So it's going to be very laid back.
Okay. So like
during the day
people wear
from 12
like
to
bathing
3.
suits and stuff like that you talking about?
You don't have to wear a bathing suit.
Okay.
I'm not personally wearing a bathing suit, but there will be a pool there if you would like to swim.
Okay.
You can.
Okay.
You get to, I mean, just poolside attire, you know.
Where is it at?
It's at Aqua Social next to...
Where's that at? I've never heard of that before. I don't think so anyway.
What is that restaurant called? It's right across the street from Waterman's. Literally right across the street from... Waterman Spirits, where you can make the drinks.
Yeah, the orange crushes.
Yeah. It's right across the street from that, but it's oceanside, so you can literally anybody can access the beach and come right in and use their pool. Oh, so it has like
what
music,
I know what you're talking about. Okay, yeah. I know what you're talking about. I know exactly what you're talking about. Yeah, because it's funny. I remember. I think this was last year. With the fam, we drove. You know how like they have like the Christmas lights.
Yeah.
Where you can drive like the actual boardwalk.
Yeah.
And so I remember I saw that. I was like, yo, I never noticed that being there. And so now that you mentioned that, I think I know what you're talking about. Yeah, it was down at the end. So yeah.
I have a golf event on the 4th, which is Wednesday.
Okay.
Yep. So I invited like 10 to 12 agents out to come and participate in golf lessons. I think that'll be fun. And then, of course, that day I plan on recording some more content. I have some more ideas. So
okay. Yeah, I seen that video you did recently. That was funny, man. I seen you. I think you said it went like a lot of people. They go viral. I guess they call it. I don't even know if it went viral. I don't know what's considered to be viral or not. But I seen it was funny. You swung. You hit the ball. It hit a tree, I think, first, and then it hit the golf cart. Yeah, and then it swung by
and then I walked away.
Sarah, and then then it hit and then it landed in the hole. I was like, yo, that's crazy. That's crazy. Yeah.
Yeah, and then we put out another one too. When she hit the golf ball and she went in a circle.
Okay, I think I saw it. Did I see that? Yeah, I think I was weak at the first one. I probably might have missed the second one, but yeah.
Yeah. So it went well, and then I'm ready for the next one. The next one is gonna be funny too. We've already discussed it.
Okay, so it's already in
the works.
Y'all making short films now at this point, right? These is like well thought out, planned ahead. Okay.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. So I'm excited about that. Trying to boost social media for real. I've never been a person to post on social media.
And I've always told you. I was like, yo, you gotta do that because the engaging like people be like just on their phones 24/7 all the time. So you post stuff like it helps for engagement. You know, it helps you be top of mind. Even if it's funny, even if it got nothing to do with your job.
Real estate,
I mean, it's just you posting stuff, man, being funny. And like I've had conversations with you over the years, man. You're a naturally charismatic, funny person. So letting people see that side of you, seriously, I mean, is something that I think is important because people want to work with people they like, people they can have a good time with. And if people don't see that side of you, they don't know.
Absolutely.
You know what I mean? So that's good that they're able to get that side of you. So that's cool. That's what's up.
Yeah. So that's been my past few weeks, really. Of course, work stuff, mom stuff. Mm-hmm. The end of the year is nearing. We got award ceremonies coming up. My daughter took her SOLs. She tested very well in the city of Chesapeake. So the highest score that you get is a 600. She got a 561.
Oh, shit. That's real good.
Yeah.
I was just talking to, before you came in, I was talking to Mike about, Mike's the guy that shoots the video and content for us. But we were talking about like test taking. And I was telling him, he was talking about a test that he took to be able to, I guess, get like a certain license needed to be able to fly a drone here locally, which I didn't even know you needed that. I thought you just go to the store and buy it.
Well, I have a drone.
Just fly that joint. You know what I'm saying? I didn't even know there was like things and prerequisites you got to do. But he was kind of sharing that to me.
Maybe when it's for income, maybe when you're using it. Okay, yeah, because for a regular person like me, I have a drone, I fly it, I don't need all that.
Gotcha. So for the income part, that makes sense.
When you're utilizing it for some sort of income, you probably have to have certain permits and stuff for it, which makes sense, right?
Yeah, that makes sense.
Because you're selling content.
That makes perfect sense. Now that you say that part, that makes sense. But we were just talking about because he had to take a test to be able, I guess, to get the license to be able to do this. Mm-hmm. And I was just talking to him about like, I remember growing up, Then obviously you took a lot of tests, or whatever. And I know you mentioned your daughter taking a test. Like that was always my downfall was I was really good as far as like, grades. Like I graduated, I think like a 3.5, 3.6, at the time where the highest was a 4.0. So I did very well. I was always honor roll.
The highest is still a 4.0.
I thought it would change. Didn't it like change where like now you can get like a 4 point something else or something like that? People can,
I mean, even back then when we were in school, you could still get above a 4.0. But
how do you get above a 4.0?
All A's is 4.0. Yeah, all A's is based on 4.0. But if you are a person that does like extra credit and things like that, you can boost your grade up to get a little bit higher than a 4.0.
Gotcha.
But the standard is still 4.0 as far as I know.
Gotcha. Yeah. Okay. Yeah, I just feel like I've heard it recently a lot. I'm so far removed from that. My kids are now entering that realm. Right. So, but anyway, I was telling Mike, like, man, I remember growing up, man, I was a horrible test taker because I would always second guess myself. Like I was always a person that was very prepared, but I felt like sometimes I over prepared. And so when I would take the test, like I would get to the answer so quick that I'm like, hey, it can't be this easy because I had so much anxiety built up before I took the test. And so once I got and picked the answer, I was like, oh man. And then I read the test again. I'm like, oh, maybe it could be this one. 'Cause I know a lot of times they try to trick you up, and one word could change the whole, situation. So I would literally be sitting there, for a while just thinking about this one question. And then I got to the point where I would answer them, then I would go back and change. And then like, I'm just like, man, I don't know what I'm doing. Like, I just need to go with what I,
right.
What
your first thought.
Yeah. So we were just having a conversation about that because he said it, he passed the test with, the score was a 70 that you needed, and he literally got a 70. And he said he went back and changed a couple of.
Passing.
Yeah, that's shit. Me too.
Passing is
hey,
passing.
Look, I don't care what it say. As long as you get what you got to get, that's it.
Ain't nobody looking at your test score.
Nah.
Did you pass or fail?
Right. Exactly. Some tests out here, get your driver's license. Like some of these tests, it don't matter what the score is. This is matters if you getting it, you get what you need to get or not. But he was telling me like he had to change some answers. Or he changed some answers throughout the course of the test, and it just like thinking like, hey, did those answers really get me to the 70? Or did it like drop me down? I could have got even a higher score, But you never know.
You
never know.
I guess
you really won't know because you don't get to see the answers of, what they were or whatever. So
that's so funny. Yeah. So real estate agents, if you need any footage of your listings, definitely contact Virginia Video.
For sure. Yeah, they have definitely been holding us down for years. Yep. For sure.
So, what have you been up to?
Let's see. So, like you mentioned, the last time we recorded was right before Mother's Day. So Mother's Day weekend obviously is all about the moms. So for what we did, the kids and I, for Brooke, she just relaxed. That's what she asked for. She asked for a bottle of champagne, a certain kind that she likes is Vouvet with the orange label, which it seemed like it's very popular and expensive. So we got that for her, and we got her like a charcuterie board, and so she kind of grazed on that the whole day. I kind of hung out with the kids, took them around, clean up around the house, did all those things that she typically does to give her a day off in that way. So that was what we did Mother's Day weekend. Let's see, the weekend after that, we went down to Charlotte, which was really fun. We have Brooke. She has some friends that live down there. She has a friend who just recently moved there from Florida. And she also has another friend from college that lives in Charlotte. So she was able to hang out with one of her friends. Her and my daughter, they went over there and hung out with them. They went to Carowinds, and I had a good time there. And so I took my son. The whole, I guess, meaning behind the trip was to kill two birds with one stone, is to see some families and friends. And then there was the PGA Championship was there this year. So it was a big golf tournament that was there at Quail Hollow Golf Club there in Charlotte.
Wasn't there like what is it called? It's like the top, something for golf this past weekend. Or was it last weekend?
Well, the weekend that we went down there to Charlotte, that was the PGA Championship.
Okay.
Yeah, so that was, so they have 4, they call them majors.
Okay.
Yeah, there's 4 majors that happen throughout the year. And that was one of them this year. Yeah, so that was the second major.
I saw that in the gym when I was on a treadmill. It came up on one of the TVs, and I was like, "Oh, okay."
Yeah, so it was cool, man. My son, he loves golf. I become an avid golfer, so that was our first time experiencing an actual golf tournament in person. And so I remember me growing up, being a big football and basketball fan. My dad taking me to like my first football game and my first basketball game, like seeing what that did for me. being able to see like the sport that I, aspire to play at the highest level. It kind of gives you something to work towards. So my son was able to see his favorite golfer. It was pretty cool because his favorite golfer actually won the tournament. So that was pretty cool. The first one we go to, the guy he's rooting for the most, end up winning it. So it was cool, man. We had a really, really good time. It was funny. The tickets I got us, it pretty much gives you like this access to like certain holes. And then it also gave us access to like this indoor place where it's like all you can eat, all you can drink, right? So me and him were picking out, eating like the buffet food. And it was really, really good actually, by the way. Because sometimes when you get those tickets and they like give you the food, like the food don't really be hitting on it for you know what I'm saying? That's why they give that to you, right? But the food was actually really, really good. But it was funny. We were sitting at one of the tables there, and the guy who was sitting at the table beside us actually was Dave Ramsey. So I think a lot of people know, like in the financial literacy, space, who Dave Ramsey is. He's been giving financial advice for at least, since I can remember, so he was right there. So I said hey to him. And it's funny, people started to notice who he was after I said something to him. So that was pretty funny. But he was there like the same area that we were at. And he dapped up my son. So that was pretty cool too. But it was cool. We had a really, really good time at the tournament. We went, speaking of brunch, we went to a brunch spot on our way back on Sunday in downtown Charlotte. It was really good as well. Like really good.
Where y'all go?
It's called Eggs. It's like excellent or egg something. It was something with the play on the word of eggs. I can't remember the name of it, but I'll have to look at it on my phone. But it was really good. That's where we met one of Brooke's friends and her husband and their kids. We had brunch before we got back on the road because we were there for a quick weekend. So yeah, it was really cool, man. We had a really good time. It seemed like it went by so fast, but we had a really, really good time that weekend.
Yeah, I love Charlotte.
Yeah.
I really do.
So it was cool, man.
I could definitely live in Charlotte for sure.
Yeah, I could too, man. It was hot. One of the days it was extremely hot down there, but like I said, at least it wasn't like pouring down, raining where, outside playing, watching golf. That could have really messed things up or whatever. I was praying that it wasn't going to rain, so that didn't happen. Okay. Then let's see, this past weekend, we had Memorial Day weekend, so that was cool.
I ain't did nothing.
You do nothing
I
Memorial
just been
weekend?
trying to clean and get my house in order,
Yeah, that's funny. We did the same thing. So we cleaned up because we hosted, I guess you could say, Memorial Day weekend this weekend, this year. So we had, the usual suspect, my parents, Brooks, my sister, her husband, even a couple friends stopped through as well from the neighborhood. So it was cool. I cooked on the grill, made like chicken, oysters, burgers, hot dogs, sausages, mac and cheese, pasta salad. It was really, we had a whole bunch of food, man. Everybody was pleased with, my food, the food that I made. So I was happy about that.
What portion did you make?
All the meats. So I made, the chicken, the burgers, the hot dogs.
You always on the grill.
So. Yeah. I was grilling, oysters, everything. So it was cool, man. Like I said, we had a really good time. The weather was perfect this past weekend, I would say as well.
It was actually really, and then we went into the rainy season, which is crazy, all week.
Yeah, it's been raining every day. Mm-hmm. Yeah. So, but yeah, Memorial Day weekend was cool. Like I said, family came through. It's funny, my parents are actually down. We have a house in the Outer Banks, so my parents, they went down there, like they left our house and then they went down there, and so they're there for this whole week. Yeah,
nice.
Yeah, so they're enjoying it down there. I was just talking to them on my way here. But yeah, it's been pretty cool, man. Like I said, I'm really feeling the summer summer coming right now. Mm-hmm. So it's fun. I almost feel like it's already here, but I know we got a couple more weeks before.
When does your kids get out of school?
So my kids actually get out of school next week.
Okay.
Yeah. Okay. So next Thursday they have a half a day, and then that's it.
So we got 2 more weeks. Yeah. I'm excited.
When your kids get out, the week after, right?
13th, I think it is.
I think ours.
And then the last 2 days, if I'm not mistaken, is like half days.
Yeah. I think they have 1 half day. Because they have like a whole graduation thing for kids that are like in 1st grade, 5th grade, and 8th grade.
Okay.
So
kindergarten.
Yeah, kindergarten. Going to 1st grade.
Yeah,
going to 1st grade. So they have like a whole thing or whatever for them for that day. But yeah.
Nice. So a couple topics that I definitely wanted to bring up. I saw online on social media, of course, where a lot of people were talking about basically cash out refinancing on their properties, because obviously during the pandemic there was a lot of equity that grew quickly, right? And so you may have the opportunity to refi, which is great. But one of the things that I wanted to point out, because I am, I would say, I'm pretty good at VA loans, right? So, for all
I
my
would definitely
VA,
say you're a VA specialist because I'll be leaning on you for VA stuff as well.
So for the VA loans, I wanted to point out that if you are looking to take cash out from your property, there has to be an existing lien on that property. So if your house is paid in full, if you're free and clear, however you want to name it, if you don't owe or have a lien against that property, then chances of you having a cash out refinance on that property is probably going to be slim to none.
Yeah.
A lot of the VA doesn't allow it.
Yeah, no, that's a good point. It's funny. I got a person I'm helping right now in that exact situation. So, a husband, he's prior military, he's a veteran. He gets disability and he gets retirement. His wife, she's retired as well. And so they have the house that they live in, they bought back in 94. She said they paid it off like 2 or 3 years ago. Yeah. And so he was, they're looking to kind of like readjust things now that they're, retired, because they just newly retired, I think a year or so ago. And so we're helping them with a cash out refi. And so initially he wanted to do VA. And I told him, hey, because you have your home free and clear, we can't do VA, but we're going to do conventional. But it's funny, and something I want to bring up, and I'm glad that you kind of mentioned this, is able to make me segue into this, is like judgments and things that can be attached or placed, or liens that can be placed on your home, right? So we have a situation with them where, they were looking at doing a cash out refinance. They want to take like $100,000 out. Their house is worth like $400,000. So it's low LTV. Yeah. We can do that all day, every day. We're
LTV means loan to value.
Yep, low loan to value. And so, we even got like an automatic appraisal waiver on it as well. So we didn't even have to do a real appraisal because of the loan to value being so low, and them having strong credit. But the title search came back and they have a lien or judgment that was placed against a judgment that was converted into a lien that was placed against their home for, I think, like $12,000.
Oh, yeah. So you can utilize that as a lien, right?
Yeah. So you can actually utilize that as a lien and go VA. Now we're still going to go conventional. Just because I mean, we already kind of went down that path. It's not a huge difference in rate. Right. We already are kind of almost done in that situation as well. But it's just funny that how that now could allow us to go VA if we wanted to. Absolutely. And then also just, bringing attention to like, hey, if you owe money from, and we looked at the lien was from back in like 2002, I think it was. Yeah. So like they didn't know anything about it because they literally bought their house in 94. And they've been paying the mortgage. And like I said, they paid it off, a couple of years ago. And so they never knew that there was a lien attached to the house. But now, because of the title search that we're doing, because they never refied the whole time, they've just been paying their mortgage diligently. We found out there was a lien. So now we're having to have that also be paid, a part of the cash out that they're receiving at closing. So, So that's something I definitely wanted to bring attention to, how that little caveat can change things, but also how,
you just have to have a lien. I mean, it could be a mechanic's lien. It could be, just a lien against the property is what the VA says. Correct. For you to be able to cash out refinance. So
correct. But also make sure that, when you own a property, like now this is their asset, it's like, even though you, let something fall by the wayside 15, 20 years ago, anytime you go to try to take that money and borrow equity, you're going to have to pay whatever you owe. And so they attach it to your home. It's going to be there forever. Until it gets paid. Yeah.
Exactly.
Yeah. So that's something I think a lot of people don't.
I've actually had, what's funny? I've had a lien sit on a property for so long that the company who placed the lien went out of business. Yep. So that was hell trying to
figure that out.
It took like 2-3 weeks alone just to figure out that this company, there was no one to pay.
So what ended up happening in that situation?
So in that, this was so long ago. This is back when I worked at the credit union. Okay. So it was so long ago that I don't exactly remember, but I would say that based on what I do remember, it ended up turning out that the company didn't exist. So they basically had to, it was like almost like a wash in a sense. But they had to go through the proper channels for that to happen. They had to do their due diligence of making sure that there was nobody to pay.
Yeah, that makes sense. Yeah.
But the company who placed the lien went out of business, and I think they were out of business for like 10 years. It was so crazy. I had never experienced anything like that. I will say, when it comes to real estate, you are always going to experience something that you've never experienced before.
That's a fact. That is an absolute fact. You think you've experienced things,
you
and then
think
it's like,
you know everything?
Yeah. You always,
something new is gonna come up.
Something new is gonna happen. That's a fact.
Because when that happened, I was like, what? Like, this lady been sitting here so long that now the company no longer exists.
Correct. Yeah, that's wild. That's wild. Yeah. I'm sure we'll probably see that situation happen again. So I'm eager to see how that, how to figure that out, or what the solution is when it comes to that. So
absolutely, that's funny. That's funny. And then also another thing that I wanted to bring up was just the differences in insurance, right? Because we go over insurance a lot, and sometimes the different insurances can get mixed up, right?
Yep. Mm-hmm.
You start thinking that mortgage insurance is homeowners insurance, and all these different insurances kind of cover each other, and realistically they don't.
Correct.
So first, I would say we'll start off with homeowners insurance. Mm-hmm. So I'll take the first one, homeowners insurance. That's the insurance that's going to cover the home in case your house was to completely just disappear, right? If there was a storm, it took your house away, your homeowners insurance should cover rebuilding that property.
Mm-hmm. Right? And it also, damage, as well. So, your if roof get messed up,
water pipe burst.
Yeah, something happens when it comes to that.
Something. Yeah. Absolutely. But then there's also mortgage insurance.
Yep. So mortgage insurance, it's just insurance on the money that's being lent to you. Mm-hmm. So typically when it comes to buying a house, if it's non-military, so non-VA purchase, what happens is, there's a down payment that's most likely required, unless you're getting some type of down payment assistance for that purchase. But in most cases, there's a down payment that's required. And so from a lending standpoint, they always say skin in the game, right? So, if you are buying a home and you're not putting down 20%, in most cases, in most scenarios, there's going to be some type of mortgage insurance that's involved when it comes to your monthly payment. And all that is that, the lenders deem that, we're lending out a certain amount of money, that we want to have that insurance, that protection, because you don't have as much skin in the game as the lender does, right? So therefore, that's what they do, is they'll have private mortgage insurance, or they'll have a mortgage insurance premium, depending on the loan type that you have. And mortgage insurance premium is just basically
insurance.
It's insurance.
In case you default.
Correct. Yep. And then a private mortgage insurance is what's paid on a monthly basis. So for a FHA loan, mortgage insurance premium is put on the front of your loan, and then the PMI is actually paid out on a monthly basis. So it's a part of your mortgage payment on a monthly basis,
which can in return increase your monthly mortgage payment.
Yeah. And a lot of times it's funny. So when people reach out to me, I know there's a lot of different things online where people look at like mortgage calculators. They look at Zillow, Shwilia, some of these other but just real estate platforms that have like a mortgage calculator on it.
They don't include it.
They don't include it. Yeah. They don't include it. So a lot of times they'll reach out to me, and I'm going over with them like what their mortgage payment's going to be, and they're like, well, hey, I looked at it on here and it says this. Mm-hmm. And I would say 80 to 90% of the time, the reason why it's different is because of the mortgage insurance, because a lot of those, mortgage calculators, they don't factor that part in.
Absolutely. Yeah. And then we also have your flood insurance. Yep. So flood insurance is a secondary insurance that you can add on in addition to your homeowner's insurance that will protect you in case there's a flood.
Yeah.
So chances are, if there's a storm, let's say like a hurricane that comes through, right? Or let's not even say a hurricane. Let's say it's just a rainstorm, not necessarily a hurricane. Just, we have bad weather and something happens, and all of a sudden that area that you're in, even if you're not in a flood zone, or if you are in a flood zone, let's say it floods, and then you have 2, 3, 4 inches of water in your property. It's safe to have that flood insurance to cover any damage from that flood, because your homeowner's insurance may not cover that type of damage.
Correct. Right? Yeah, and that's something I think we'll eventually have an insurance person come on here and join us and kind of go a little bit further in depth with like the different coverages and how they're, how the situations would work for them. Because that is something that I've seen and have had one of my buddies experience, where he didn't have flood insurance, and there was a storm that came and his house got flooded, and he was thinking his homeowner's insurance policy would cover it, but it wasn't, because it was flood that happened, and that was where the damages came from. So, we'll be able to have somebody come in and speak to it a little bit further than we can, because that's more of an insurance thing.
Absolutely. And then I'll have you go over Wind and Hail.
Yeah. Wind and Hail, same type of vein as we just spoke about. Matter of fact, do you remember, it was like a week ago. Was it hailing? Do you remember that day it hailed?
I think so. Yeah.
Yeah, it was crazy.
Yeah.
My kids was like, they were like, it was because it was at nighttime too. It was like.
You could hear it.
Yeah, I mean, you can hear it like hard. Yeah, you can hear it really hard because my
sound like gunshots, but you know what I mean.
Yeah, because I think I was sitting there. I think we had just put our kids down, and Brooke and I were watching TV, and then Brooke's friend texted her because she lives in Chesapeake as well, but it's like on the other side of Chesapeake, and so she texted her like, "Hey, are you seeing like that hail or whatever? Like, is it hailing over there?" And we were like, I guess Brooke responded like, "Nah," because we weren't at the time. And then like 5 minutes later, you started to hear it. And I mean, it was loud. And there were like big pieces of it too. I was like, goodness gracious. Then even, it was funny. I have the Ring, as my doorbell. And so people be talking on the Ring, be saying stuff or whatever. And so one person was like, just like sending pictures of it and watching it or whatever. So it was crazy, man. It was pretty
funny.
Significant. My kids were like scared and everything of it as well. So yeah, but going back to the question, wind and hail, same situation is, when you have a homeowner's insurance policy, a lot of times there could be a part of it where it could cover wind and hail. So you want to make sure that you have sufficient coverage there to be able to account for if there's any damage that happens to your home that's predicated from wind or hail. Because, if you don't have that coverage or not enough coverage and there's something that damages your home because of wind and hail, just because you have a homeowner's insurance policy, it may not cover that because of how the damage was, happened to your home, which was happening through wind and hail.
Absolutely. And if you're purchasing a home, I think wind and hail is required.
Yeah, it is. Yeah. It is. I was just talking about as far as sufficient coverages, because I've actually seen it before where people didn't have enough. Yeah, well, like the damage was greater than the coverage that they had. So it just didn't pay out as much as that they were hoping because of the damage and the coverage that they had. Because a lot of times, those aren't your typical things that happen to your home. So a lot of times when it comes to like trying to, get an affordable policy, that's the area that people will sacrifice a little bit in, because that's the one that's probably the most uncommon, I would say, out of the ones on there. But you just want to be mindful of, make sure you have that proper coverage, in the circumstance that happens. So,
absolutely.
Yeah.
And then there's one other type of insurance that I don't know if you would deem it. It's like a warranty. I would say it's like a warranty, right?
Okay.
The home warranty. It is a separate type of insurance, but it covers some of your major appliances in your home. So if you have a refrigerator that dies, if your HVAC dies, your dryer, washer, things of that nature, you could purchase this type of policy for them to come out and fix these items with, of course, a paid deductible. So that's something important to have. I have home warranty on my property where I currently live, and they've been a lifesaver. I remember one summer my refrigerator went out. I paid the deductible, which I think was about $75 or $100. And you can even pay one deductible for up to 3 appliances. So let's say...
Oh, I didn't even know that. Okay.
Yeah, at least for mine.
Your policy?
Yeah, I can't say that that's for every policy, but you could put 3 different items on one claim, pay one deductible, and then they could come out and view those 3 different things. So at that time, I had an issue with my stove where like the time was kind of like flickering, I guess you can say. But the major item was my refrigerator. So I put both on there. Right, it came out.
So you knew that ahead of time, like
I knew my
no, I'm saying
stove,
you knew that you could put multiple on.
Yeah.
Oh, okay. Okay.
I knew it when I signed up.
Oh,
yeah,
okay. Cool.
Yeah.
That's what's up.
Before I actually agreed to move forward with them, but my refrigerator went out. I paid $75, and it was something about the coolant in the refrigerator had went out, and that was like $1,000 expense that I didn't have to pay. All I had to pay was $75.
Yeah.
So. Sometimes, depending on who you are and what your situation is, especially if you're a first-time home buyer, it's important for you to look into the possibility of having a home warranty.
Yeah, I encourage all, especially first-time home buyers.
Absolutely.
All first-time home buyers get a home warranty.
Yeah.
Because, like you said, it'll definitely save you money, if there ever is some type of issue that happens to your home, like Sophia said, mainly like appliance driven things of that nature, that you can have them come out and just pay that one-time deductible. And a lot of times, them just coming out there and looking at it is going to cost more than what the deductible is, right?
Absolutely.
Let alone them actually repairing it and fixing it. So it's definitely worth the money that it is, when it comes to buying a home. And a lot of times, when you're buying a home, that's something that can be negotiated at the time that you get in the house under contract. You can ask the seller to have or pay for a home warranty, and they're typically not that expensive, depending on obviously the size of your home and the age of your home and those types of things. But they're normally pretty affordable. And I know what I did when I bought my first home is I got a home warranty, and I would always just renew it every single year, because a lot of times, like when I bought my house, the seller, they paid for that first year because it's typically on an annual basis. And so each year after that, I just would pay the money to renew it, but I at least got that first year where it was paid for by the seller.
Absolutely.
So yeah, I definitely recommend doing something like that. When it comes to buying home warranties are definitely the way to go.
It is.
Yeah.
Definitely.
Yeah. Something else I wanted to mention too as well is power of attorneys, POAs.
Oh, yes.
So that's something that I think a lot of people, I know we're in the age of technology, where we can pretty much do everything virtually for the most part, right? Mm-hmm. And so I just had a situation recently where I had a buyer who bought a home, sight unseen, I guess you can say in a sense, because he was deployed, he was out to sea, and his agent that was helping him, would go show houses via like FaceTime, send video, and he fell in love with a house and he got it under contract. So the agent, she didn't ask him if he was going to be back by the time of the closing day, mm-hmm. right? And so I think there was just a communication failure there, right? And so what ended up happening was we ended up finding out pretty late in the game that he wasn't going to be there by the actual designated closing day. And so at that time, we started to scramble and try to have him execute a power of attorney. And so it was just really difficult because obviously he's underway. He was in areas where for days, almost weeks at a time, sometimes
comms will go down.
Yeah, we couldn't communicate with them, mm-hmm. right? And so he, executed the POA, but they didn't actually get here for like a whole month. Yeah. And so we were thankful that the seller was patient with us throughout the transaction. Oddly enough, I actually knew the other agent on the other end, which it helped. It helped, yeah. Because they knew that I just wasn't trying to blow smoke or trying to just, string them along or whatnot and while I was figuring out the issue, it was literally just the power of attorney, right? And so that's just something that I think that we need to make sure that we're having those conversations about, because the buyer and the agent, because the agent's newer, was on the understanding that they could just do the closing virtually, And in some situations you can
use a RON.
Yeah.
Those are far and few.
Yeah,
but
I wouldn't bank on that. I would,
no.
That's not something, unless you're out the gate starting that process and saying, hey, this is the route we're going to go. Mm-hmm. I would definitely want to make sure that, hey, if you're buying a home and you know that you're not going to be able to be present during the time that the home is closing and you're not going to be present in person, you want to make sure you establish a power of attorney. And really, I think most military folks in general, you probably want to establish some type of power of attorney, someone who can handle something for you in your absence, especially if you're going to be going out to sea a lot and all that,
Yeah. But even if they had the power of attorney beforehand, honestly,
gotta be
you still it has to be a special power of attorney for the purchase of a home. Yeah. So
and I always say that it's funny, like, you're going to be buying a home, right? So, exactly. Before you went out on that water, or even if you're out on the water, because you can, like this person, he established it while he was out on the water, let's go ahead and do that before you even start looking at homes. Yeah. You know what I'm saying? Let's go ahead and get out the way, because you don't want that situation to happen. And, it was, like I said, again, we were thankful and lucky that the seller, was patient because, mm-hmm. It took a whole 45 days. We were supposed to close middle of April, and we just ended up closing a couple days ago this week.
Right.
And literally it was just waiting for that power of attorney, So.
Yeah, I have a power of attorney situation now where I was told that we were going to be doing a mobile notary where we send basically a notary to the buyer because he's not military per se, but he does work on ships. And so when I spoke to him, when I was notified that that's what we were going to be doing, mm-hmm. I reached out to him to kind of talk through it. And he was like, oh, wait, so you're saying that they're coming to me? I was like, yeah, that's what a mobile notary is. Yeah. And he was like, oh, no, wait. And I was like, well, there's also an option for a power of attorney. Mm-hmm. So if you want to go that route, then, we got to reach out to settlement. But I do also think that the settlement agents need to do a good job as to communicating what that means too, you know, because we ultimately, yes, we're the lender, right? But we don't record the deed. We don't have anything to do with that process.
And that's what the agent said in that scenario.
And that's what the power of attorney mm-hmm. is for. It's for you to be able to go and file the deed with the county or city that you live in. So you need that power of attorney. So the title companies really need to do a good job at explaining that, especially if mm-hmm. they know that they're dealing with a lot of people who are veterans who are
especially this area, which is a heavy military area.
Exactly.
And I agree. And that was the communication failure because the agent was, like I said, under the assumption first that they can close out of the, out there, right, while he's underway. And then also they were like, they thought that the settlement company would really be the one handling that type of endeavor. Like she didn't think, she just was trying to get the person the contract, find them a house. Like that was it.
She did her,
She felt like that part was more on the settlement aspect of it was on the settlement company.
Because it is, it's absolutely their responsibility.
Yeah. So that was an interesting situation I just had recently. And something else I want to kind of bring up, it's kind of in our lane, but it's not really. It's just, I was looking at some stuff before I was headed down to Charlotte, because last time I went to Charlotte, I stayed at an Airbnb, right? And typically I'll look into it depending on where I'm going. Like I have a golf trip with the fellas coming up in July. We're going down to South Carolina, and we're going to stay like in a house, like an Airbnb house, right? So I always kind of look into those. I like just the freedom of being in an actual house, being able to get groceries, especially if I'm going to be somewhere for an extended period of time. And so when we were headed to Charlotte, I was looking into some Airbnbs, and I was just reading some reviews, then I kind of went down like a rabbit hole and looking at just kind of how Airbnb's been performing the last couple of years. And I see that Airbnb is actually down pretty significantly. I don't see a lot of people talking about them as much anymore. Yeah. And so one of the things that I was seeing that, was the cause of that was just the hospitality part of Airbnb, right? So typically when you're looking to travel or stay somewhere, an Airbnb's competition is like a hotel, right? So, at a hotel, when you stay at a hotel, there's designated staff there as far as cleaning, as far as if there's something that breaks, there's somebody there that can help, right? But when it comes to an Airbnb, some Airbnb owners, they may have a cleaning staff that they have to clean the home, every time it's changed over from one tenant, or not tenant, but one stay to the next. But, anybody can Airbnb. You can put your house on the market. Not on the market, but put your house on the site and do it. And so a lot of times there's not accountability when it comes to like just the cleanliness of the house, right? Or just having someone be able to... Just
the basic necessities, right?
Yeah, the basic necessities, like stuff that's, that's needed, like soap, towels, things of that nature, having those clean things. Or if there's an issue with one of those things, like when you're staying in a hotel, you can easily call, staff, call down to the front desk, and they'll make it right in most cases immediately, right? Airbnb is a lot more hoops sometimes you got to jump through. You can try to call the owner, and let's say they're busy, like then you're kind of just stuck, and then you just kind of, hey, I'm just going to figure it out myself. I don't want to even wait on them. And then now your trip or your stay has kind of been diverted a little bit because you kind of figure out, this situation, this inconvenience that's come up. So it's just something that I saw that I was like, I'm going to mention it on our next pod just because, I remember when Airbnb first boomed. I remember my first conversation. I was helping, this is back when I was at Wells Fargo, which is crazy. So this was like at least 11, 12 years ago. And I was helping a buyer buy a home up in like the Maryland, D.C. area. And we were like figuring out like, her income and all this stuff. And she was telling me that she had an Airbnb. And I didn't know what the hell she was talking about when she said Airbnb. I was like, huh? And so again, I pulled out my phone and
Google.
Natural Google, which we settled that last week. We
determined that, you're not getting rid of Google.
We're not getting rid of that. Google's been in my pocket. So, but yeah, I looked at the term, and that was my first time ever hearing about Airbnb. And I see how it's just taken off. Like I said, I've stayed in Airbnbs plenty of times.
I've stayed in maybe one or two.
Oh, for real? Okay. Yeah.
I like the hotel. I like room service. I like calling and saying, hey, can I get a meal delivered to the room?
No, I'm with you. I'm with you on that. Like I said, typically, the only time I really stay in Airbnbs, like I mentioned, is just like if it's an extended stay and like I have my family with me. Yeah. Like that's typically.
For the space, yeah.
For the space, being able to have like multiple beds, being able to have like an area where it's like, we're sleeping in. It's not just all be on top of each other. Because when we're in the hotel, like even this past week, there's 2 beds. Yeah. And then like we eating over here. My kids jumping on the bed. I'm trying to like work on my computer. And it's just like a lot in this real concentrated area, versus a house. Everybody can kind of have their own space. And it's just a lot easier to navigate.
So speaking of the Airbnb, I was on social media, like always. And I was looking at this, it was like this TikTok series, and it was this lady, she was discussing how she was in an Airbnb, and the person who rents out the Airbnb double booked.
See?
And so when they double booked, they told the first family that was there that they could occupy like this other half of the house.
Oh, gosh.
Yes. And then the other family was coming, and the person who owned the home basically told the lady who was already there with her family that the other people paid more, so they get the house and they had to leave.
That's terrible.
And so she had to call Airbnb, and it was like this big thing. She ended up getting all her money back and things like that. But just imagine that, y'all. Just imagine that you've rented this house and you're getting settled. You're obviously traveling, right? So you're not familiar with the area, and the host tells you have to go. Like, that's crazy. Yeah. I don't even know if I could handle myself. Like, I'm a pretty calm, reserved person when it comes to like my attitude. But that day, they would see a different side of me.
Yeah, I'd have been pissed, man. Yeah, that's crazy. And it's funny because I know on Airbnb you can designate like, hey, if you're able to rent the entire space, or if you're renting a portion of it. You know what I mean? Because sometimes, like, I remember the first year of something in the water that was here. So this was probably 2019. Yeah, 2018, 2019, the first year they had it here. I knew I was going to be doing like, having fun, drinking and stuff. And so I got and all the hotel chains were charging crazy arm and a leg, over $1,000 just to stay. So I ended up staying at an Airbnb down at the oceanfront. But the Airbnb I stayed at was like a ADU. Unit, but it was different. It wasn't like an ADU where it was truly like a separate living space, like where it was like, I had my own access. I had my own access. It was
own access to the backside of the house.
Yeah,
so they call those in Florida efficiencies.
Okay,
that's what they call them.
Yeah, so it was like, I had my own access back there. Like, I was separate from the people, but the owners of the house, they still were staying in the front side, in the front of the actual the house portion of it. And it's like a little like not outhouse, I hate to say that term, but like, the efficiency is what you just said.
Yeah, it's an efficiency. So basically what it is one whole house, but the front part of the house doesn't have access to the backside of the house without actually walking around the house and entering through the back door. So it's like basically a studio apartment attached to the house.
Yeah, so Brooke and I stayed in there for something where just because it put us right down at the ocean front. Just so we didn't have to drive back and forth, with
traffic and all that stuff.
And paying that amount of money for a hotel, which would have been ridiculous.
Yeah, so exactly.
Yeah.
Okay. Well, there you go, Airbnb's.
Yeah. I just wanted to drop some light on. Like I said, it was something that I was looking into before my stay last weekend, and then I was able to be like, and I kind of went down a rabbit hole, a little bit as far as just looking into it. I'm like, dang, that's right, because I haven't heard much of Airbnb recently, and that was kind of one of the reasons why. It was just like a lot of complaints, just a lot of issues with them. So a lot of people have kind of just, avoided doing it and just kind of went and stayed at, hotels instead. So
absolutely. Yeah. So you know what time it is?
Oh yeah, it's my favorite part of the show.
One gotta go.
Okay, what we got this week?
So this week, due to all the weather. I ain't gonna say issues, but the recent weather that we've been having, it's been, summer, fall, winter, spring in the past like 4 weeks here in Virginia.
That's very true. It was cold one of them days, a couple days ago. It was
cold outside. It was raining. We had hail. It was hot as hell.
Yeah.
All of that, right?
Yeah, all in a week.
So, based on that, one gotta go. You have summer, spring, winter, and fall.
So the seasons, 4 seasons.
4 seasons.
Okay.
4 seasons. Which one has to go completely?
Damn, this is tough. 4 seasons. Which one got to go? It's tough because there's something I like about all 4 seasons. So I guess I got to think about which is the less out of those 4. So my favorite, and I always, I work backwards when we figure this out, right? This helps me kind of, process of elimination. So my favorite season is fall.
Okay.
So that's not going anywhere. I like fall because it's like I've always liked just like the perfect like 60 to 70 degree weather. Trees start to blossom. Football season.
No, not blossom.
Not blossom, but the leaves start to fall. I'm sorry, I said that wrong. The leaves start to fall. The nights are cool. I just like that time. I like the clothes I wear in the fall. Golf during that time of the year is like the best time of the year because it's not too hot, crazy. Football season is just kicking off.
Football.
Yeah. School normally starting back. It's like a new season happening at that time. So fall has all of that. So I like fall as first.
Kids go back to school.
Yeah, kids back to school. There you go. Yeah. See, I don't buy my kids get a home, but I I get it though. I
and
understand.
I know now I'm gonna listen to this.
Oh yeah, he is.
He will be like, Daddy.
Yeah.
You like when I go back to school?
Yeah, right. Yeah. So I don't even want that to be on his heart. So yeah, so fall is one. That's going over there, as I say.
Okay.
Number two is the season that follows it, winter.
You like winter?
I like winter.
Okay.
So I like winter because my birthday's in winter. I was born.
Okay.
A young king was born in December. You know what I'm saying? So I need winter. I like the holidays, man. That's in wintertime. Okay. I love Thanksgiving and Christmas. I love being around family and friends.
But you know that winter. I mean, the holidays don't go away because winter is there or not.
Well, let me finish.
Okay.
Let me finish. I like the cold weather.
Okay.
I naturally like the cold weather. I like wearing the clothes I wear in the wintertime. I like snow when we got snow this past year. I like just the wintertime. I feel like everything kind of slows down. I feel like my life is always fast paced. I feel like during that time of the year, things slow down for me a little bit. I have a lot more time to think and dwell and have perspective. So winter is number two. So it's down to summer and spring. And this is tough, real tough. But I will say the one that can go is spring. I'm going to keep summer. And it's really close. I actually, at first thought, I was going to get rid of summer. But I can't. I can't get rid of summer, man. So for me, the only reason I'm getting rid of spring, and they're very similar, and the reasons I like them is obviously the most warmest time of the year. Typically coming out of the winter time, I'm looking for the weather to start to turn, and spring is that first glimpse of it. So that's why spring was my initial. But the one thing that makes me pick spring is allergies. I have the worst. Well, I ain't gonna say the worst, not anymore. I used to have the worst allergies. I still have pretty bad allergies, but spring season breeds that pollen, and it brings those allergies, and I just don't like that time. You know what I'm saying? And that's the only reason. Summer to me, because I actually like spring weather better than summer weather. Okay. I don't like being super hot. I don't like the hot 90-degree temperature. Give me 75 degrees. That's a perfect spring day. I love that. But the allergies and stuff that come with it, man, I'll sacrifice the heat for the allergies. Okay. So my answer is I have to get rid of spring.
Okay. All right.
What you got?
You think we're going to agree?
Nah, I don't think we're going to agree. Because I'm thinking about that. I know you a little bit, so I'm thinking about it. And I don't think we're going to agree.
Okay. All right. So. One got to go.
Yep.
Sophia's
Sophia's edition.
Yep. Okay. So first and foremost, my favorite time of the year is fall as well.
Okay. All right.
I love the fall. I love the clothes. Yep. Mm-hmm. I love the weather. I love how it's hot during the day, it gets cool at night. You have that. It's something about the way the wind blows. It's just different, right?
Yep. Mm-hmm.
So I love fall. My second runner-up is summer. Mm-hmm. I love summer. I was born in the summer. I love the sun. I love the way I look in the sun. I love the way it darkens my skin. I love the way it makes me glow. I'm a summer baby through and through, right?
Okay.
Born in July.
Mm-hmm.
My third pick is going to be winter.
Oh, so we agree.
We agree.
Oh, snap.
I'm getting rid of spring because I cannot do the allergies.
Oh, for the same reasons too?
Hurt.
Oh, God.
They
What's
hurt.
going on?
They hurt. So, my nose burns, sometimes from allergies, right?
Yeah, man.
And eyes all messed up. Clear stuff coming out that shouldn't be coming. So, if the spring, like what you said, when it comes to spring and summer for you.
Yeah.
If the spring did not have that significant allergy issue, then I would get rid of winter.
Okay. So it was between spring and winter for you then.
Spring and winter for me.
Yep.
I'm not a winter person. I really don't care for the winter too much. I don't want to be in the snow. I actually was born in Michigan, so snow is not for me. You can have that, but if I had to choose between snow and allergies, I would choose snow all day.
Yeah, me too.
Because the allergies, I can't do.
Yeah. So
So
we agree on the exact same reasons. We had our final two was different, but we agreed. So that's cool. That's what's up.
I'm surprised that we agreed. But when you were going through yours, I was like, really? We agreed this time.
Yeah, man. Yeah, like I said, that's the only reason. Because for me, as you mentioned, the snow and the allergies being the thing, like it came down to me like the weather. Like I love spring weather. Like the weather to me is the perfect time. And then typically, coming out of winter, it's like I'm always looking like, okay, when are we going to consistently start breaking in the weather where I can go out and play golf or I can like go out and enjoy outside more. And, that's the spring. And then the spring kind of sustains that for like 2 months.
But you're out there sniffling.
But exactly. I'm sniffling. My nose, like you said, like I be coughing, sneezing, my nose running, my eyes watered.
Do you know that sound that people make when they say they're scratching their throat?
I know exactly what you're talking about.
I cannot stand that. That is a pet peeve of mine. When people do that, I can't even do. Can you do it?
Yeah, I guess I kind of can do it.
No, you can't do it. Do it, Mike. No, not that. It's like a.
I know what you're talking about. Yeah, I know what you're talking about. Yeah.
I can't stand
it was funny. It was funny.
And they do it like back to back to back.
Yeah,
I mean, like
nonstop. Yeah.
And then they try to like wiggle their ears.
Yo, growing up, I'm not even gonna mention my man's name, but he was one of my closest friends growing up. His mother used to do that. And I mean, it was so bad. Like she used to make that noise, and it got to the point. I remember my mom would tell me like, "Yo, Bryan, like I just don't like." She didn't like want to be around because she would consistently do it, and it was just so bad. Like I remember like being at the house, and you could hear. I mean, we be playing a video game, and she way on the other side of the house, and you could hear.
I don't even know how to make that sound. Yeah,
like that, with the eyes. I'm like, what is going on, man?
That's not normal.
Yo, yeah.
If you doing all that, you need to go to the doctor.
Yes, you need to take something.
Go to your nose and throat doctor.
Yeah, man. Yeah.
Because something is not right.
Nah, I'm with you on that. For sure.
So I don't like that either. So you can have that and allergies.
Have all of that, all the above.
All of the above. Take it with you. Just go ahead and wrap that up and put them on, and y'all can go together.
Yeah, I'm with you on that.
Yeah. But what you have coming up?
Shoot,
I kind of mentioned what I have.
Yeah, I mean, nothing really. It's funny. I was looking at like the next like 8 to 10 weeks. Brooke and I was talking about it over the weekend, Memorial Weekend. Like we got something going on. If it's not a birthday party, if it's not just an obligation, it's literally every single week. But this coming up weekend, we have nothing going on. My son, he has his last baseball game this weekend. So he's excited for that. So I'll probably like after the game over, probably take him somewhere, probably go out to eat somewhere, just kind of celebrate the season. But outside of that, I mean, literally nothing, nothing. But in the next, like I said, 8 to 10 weekends, every single weekend, we got something going on. So it's just like this weekend, I'm going to kind of just relax. Like you said, I've been cleaning up. I got the carpet guy coming by that I normally have come clean the carpet. I got the cleaning service coming by, clean the house, just kind of really just like get it freshened up because we've been thugging it out and living for the last 4 to 6 months. So
yeah. I don't really have anything going on this weekend. I'm pretty free for the most part. Yeah. I think that I'll just clean up the house, try to reorganize. I need to clean up my garage, reorganize that. Okay.
That's what I need to do that too. Brooke be getting on me about that all the time.
Yeah.
Like every time she never goes in the garage, but
the day you go in there, you're like, hold on, wait.
Yeah.
Y'all gotta clean
it was
this
the
up.
other day I had the garage, I was playing basketball with my son in the front of the house. And so I just had the garage door open. My daughter was riding a bike in the driveway, and Brooke, she was upstairs, so she ended up coming downstairs, and she peeked in the garage, and she was like, "You need to clean this." I'm like, "Man, don't nobody ever be in the garage for real." You know what I'm saying? And honestly, it's not that bad, but it needs to just be clean. You know what I mean?
Yeah, mine just needs to be reorganized. Yeah. It's just some things was taken out of the garage, so now. It just needs to be reorganized and put on the shelves. Yeah,
I got you.
Yeah.
Mine is just it just needs to be swept. You know what I'm saying? It just needs to kind of be just cleaned up a little bit. Yeah. You know what I mean? I got a golf cart in there. I got golf clubs and just extra stuff just kind of laying on boxes and stuff that I just need. I got my sister's sofa in there that she wants me to hold for a little bit for her. So I just got stuff that I just need to move it around and kind of sweep it up and clean it up a little bit. So
yeah, and then I need to do 2 of my kids' hair, so.
Gotcha. Okay.
Yeah, I've been contemplating if I want to have someone else do it, but I also have a room that I need to paint, so I'm like, okay, I got to do something. Either I pay somebody to come paint, or I pay somebody to do their hair.
Yeah.
But I ain't doing both.
No, I'm with you. I feel you, yeah.
So we'll see. Okay. We'll see. But that's pretty much it.
Cool.
Until next time. I mean, I got my 2 events next week.
Oh, yeah.
But
Yeah,
that's
definitely
pretty
looking
much
forward
it.
to those. I should be able to go to probably both of them, if I'm
Okay.
not mistaken. Yeah, I should be able to check out both of them, so it'd be cool.
Cool.
Yeah.
Nice. Well,
cool.
Exit.
Yep. Well, you can follow me on social media. It's Bryan, BRYAN_Royster on was it Instagram, and then just Bryan Royster on Facebook.
Yep. And you can follow me at IamSofia_KB and on Facebook, Sophia Kifley Baker.
Cool. And we'll see you in 2 weeks.
We will see you in 2 weeks.